Hello, and my name is Peter Rushmer, and I'm your host today of a Half Dozen Things podcast. A Half Dozen Things is a podcast for business owners and professionals just like you. Whether you're an underdog hungry for success or you're already smashing it but want to continue to level up, we're here each week for you to get insight and learning from the very best in the business. No fluff, no BS, and no self-proclaimed gurus talking about how easy business or life is. Just real, frank, and raw conversations.
Yeah. Right, red button's on.
Right, hello.
Hi Ben, how are you, mate?
Very good. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Thanks for joining me on the Half Dozen Things podcast. I've just introduced everyone to you. You've had a new addition to the family this week.
Yeah, number
Emma.
3. Yeah.
Who knew? They said it took a real man to make a girl, mate.
I know. I'm surprised as well.
Brilliant. How are the boys coping with it?
Fine. They love her. They don't really seem to be any different. They're just having fun and she's with it. Yeah, it's pretty
Happy days.
fine. Yeah, it's good.
Brilliant. Brilliant, mate. That's awesome. So, yeah, I guess we'll just crack straight on into it, really. I've given you a bit of a bio and told the listeners how well we know each other, which is pretty well, considering...
And everything, surely.
Well, not everything, no, obviously. Being best man at each other's wedding, godfather to Arthur, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, let's go straight into it, mate. So your half a dozen things, you've pushed for 7. First of all, have you done your research? Have you listened to the podcast yet?
No.
You are rubbish, man.
I'm
I'm disowning you as a friend. Your best friend launches a podcast. Your best friend launches a podcast. You can't even be asked to listen to it.
Honesty.
I even invite you on as a guest.
No, I'm going to listen to it.
You're
I'm going to listen to it in a hit. In a chunk.
You're gonna listen to it when you're on it. Yeah, I get it.
Egomaniac, mate. It's all
Nice, right, let's go for it. Right, first thing then, decide what you deem successful, whether that's money, lifestyle, being your own boss, etc., and be realistic. Success is different depending on who you are. Talk to me, Ben. What do you mean by this?
Yeah, well, that is something I learned, and as time's gone on, it changes. The goalposts always move. So I think when I first got into business, it was the driver was money, but actually now the driver is being able to do what I want as such. And so it goes from sort of what you deem as successful changes, really. And I think you've got to know in your head what do you really, really want from what you're doing, because that's what you've got to aim for. Because if you haven't got that goal, it's really, really, really hard to know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I find that as time's gone on in business as such, I long more for the control and the freedom and being able to pay the bills. For me, that's sort of where the success lies at the moment. And again, it may change. I mean, once you get used to that level of stuff, it might be that success is doing a new, fresh business. Who knows? But I think to start off on the platform, you've got to know what you want and what do you deem successful. Because to be honest with you, if you're 20, all you really want is like girls and cars. Do you know what I mean? And flash stuff. But as you get older, that's not as important. You might already have it and want to move on anyway. So I think that even if it does change, you've got to know what you think a success is, to become successful.
Definitely.
It's quite straightforward.
Yeah, definitely. And I think success is quite broad, isn't it? Success is really broad and it will mean different things to different people. And like you say, when we used to work together in the Green Dragon in Cambridge, for those of you listeners who have ever been to the Green Dragon in Chester, Ben and I used to pretty much share bedrooms upstairs once upon a time. Obviously, success for us then looked quite different to how it does now, I guess. But what interestingly, so you've had a bit of a change of direction, so to speak. You're still running the business, still running the farm shop, but obviously your priorities have moved on to your stand-up now. What does success look like for you at the moment with stand-up particularly?
Being able to do it and pay the bills, being able to do it without worrying. Like, so with stand-up, especially until recently, where I've been able to sort of keep things under control a lot better. The thing with stand-up is going on stage, knowing in the back of your mind that you probably should be doing some working harder on your business isn't a fun thing. So being able to focus on something you really want to do without any issues or guilt is a big deal for me. So being able to get on with stand-up knowing I'm not ruining something else is really important. Like, so you think, well, that's okay, you know, that's fine, it's running itself, that's doing its thing. I can get on what it's not I don't want to do what I do with my business, that's fine. But for me, it's like a day job. It's paying my bills. It's my job now that I've built and sort of shaped to my lifestyle. Whereas stand-up's coming in is the thing I want to do, ideally, if I could choose. Tomorrow, Wave Magic One, what to do for your full-time job that pays the bills? Well, that. But that's not going to happen. But I can make them work quite well together because I've managed to build the shop up to a level, and the other parts of the business, the website and the wholesale, to a level where I can manage it in smaller chunks and focus more on family and stand-up, really.
Got you. No, that's perfect. And so there's not, you've not set like a vision for like, I suppose they don't do DVDs anymore. Do you do like, I don't know, like how do you measure a good comedian?
If you are getting paid enough to make it your job, really.
Is that?
That's the bar. I mean, there's different levels. So you can go from being like a new person, once you start getting paid for like semi-pro, if you like, that's when it all starts to happen. That's the rung up the ladder.
Yeah.
Because when you apply for other gigs, you are asked, what are you getting paid for at the moment? It's like it's not no qualifications as such. It's you're as good as your last gig. So if you're working with companies that have got a good reputation, they're paying you to do stuff. That's all you need. That's the referral that you need, and quite often the right people will give you references anyway. But really, for me, as things are, it would suit me doing it semi-professionally anyway around the business, because at the moment it works fine. I can do both. Yeah. After COVID, hopefully.
This is true. This is very true. We hope for everything after COVID. Okay, so what have other people who do stand up? What have they been doing during COVID to try and keep themselves going?
I don't know. Things with their hands, probably. Like welding. I don't know.
Sorry, was it a shit question?
Luckily for me, it's been hard not to do the stand-up, but I've been thrown back into my business in such a way that it's just been incredible. So I've had a very welcome distraction. Then obviously we've had another baby, so I've had plenty to do. But I think I'm the exception. Most of them have been desperate. Gigs have gone, comedy's gone. Just put it online. Let's do this and do that. And some of even the biggest people are massively like, don't know what to do with myself, kind of thing. You know. So for me, the business has been a very welcome distraction, because if I'd had to have closed and not been able to trade, like some pubs or whatever have been, losing money hand over fist, concerned about the future, and not have had comedy on the side, I think I'd have been going mad. I mean, I'm surprised more people haven't gone nuts. I mean, they might have done. Do you know what I mean? It's driving insane.
So it'll be interesting to see if we did a study or a decent survey the size enough to be able to take everything into account. I think you'd probably find there's a lot of challenges at the moment out there.
It's huge. I mean, it really is, because even businesses that have been quite busy through it, like mine, there's gonna be massive challenges when this all goes back. I mean, already from the 1st of June, I've noticed a drop in the takings straight away. The second people can start to do different things, they don't necessarily use the independent business as quick, because they're going back to their old ways or whatever. That's fine. No, that's fine, but there's a genuine possibility that even businesses that did do well could just drop off the edge of a cliff. But I accounted for that in what I was projecting for what's going to happen anyway. I think a lot of businesses haven't been busy before.
Yeah, of course.
And now they've been really, really busy, and they think this is how it's going to be. Whereas I sort of quite bluntly thought this is going to be a blip.
Yeah.
Ride the wave, and it won't be there later. And that's what I've done. And I think I'm right.
Yeah. Nice one, mate. Nice one. So, moving on to the second area for you, which is around learning good delegation skills and gaining the right staff or help, deciding when you don't need people. The way you've worded that makes it sound like you've lived from a little bit of experience with this one, mate. So tell me about it.
Well, first off, when I first started hiring staff, it was a naive thing, really. I thought if you can, well, let's take Flagship, right? You start your business and you go, right, we're going to do this training and this training and this training. You do all that training yourself. And then you want to do 3 different kinds of training, which only you can do at the moment, but you can offset those first 3 to someone else. So you go, okay, Joe Blogs and Alice, or whoever, I'll give that to them. And I naively would have expected it to stay the same, if not being able to push it and grow it. And actually it will shrink. Often, you really, really, really have to establish something before you bring people in to run it and do it. So, so in my case, it was like opening more shops, or I don't know, when I had the restaurant or the pub or whatever. I thought if I bring someone in to, like, let's say with the shops, I did a lot of butchery work, so I brought someone in who could do the making of stuff. So I didn't have to do the making of stuff. And it just didn't work. So then not only did I have to still really do all the work, I was paying minimum wage plus more on top of that. Or they won't spot the day the fridge goes bang. You know that's not working right, and you lose all your stock one day. Or I thought, well, I'm spending too much time doing deliveries, I'll get a delivery driver. You know, and then actually that comes with its own things. Maybe it's easier if I do the deliveries because customers aren't seeing me. Or deciding when you don't need someone is harder than just getting someone in sometimes. But also it's about knowing and having the right staff. So like with the shop as an example, we've had customers who know the faces of the staff. It's gone through, it's been a long period of sort of getting them on board and knowing the business. And it doesn't happen overnight. But Green Dragon's a really good example, what you were saying actually, because that's when the delegation started, you see. We were all friends. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're young, especially, if you're podcast listeners are listening to this because they want to start businesses, they've never done it before, good chance you're probably young. Yep. Or younger than us maybe, or whatever, right?
Yep.
And there's a good chance that the people you're working with or whatever are going to be like friends. The second you start having to be the boss in your friends, that's really hard. But over time, especially if it's in your own business, I always think start as you mean to go on, and straight away clear the air by saying, oh, if something's not right, I'll put it up and straight away. Don't be offended if I say it straight away. It's not me getting at you. It's just a lot more awkward if I say, you've been doing this for 3 months now, and I should have said the first time you did it. And it's, do you know what I mean? And just stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's important having the right team. Everyone watches loads of Richard Branson quotes and stuff. Oh, it's my start. Just whatever, right? Great. Good for you, Richard. Pinocchio. Right. Okay.
I was going to say, for the benefit of the podcast listeners who aren't watching this on YouTube, Ben just made this shape away from his nose, like a Pinocchio nose, like Richard Branson, some big liar, some big farce.
Staff are great, but there's an equal between customers and staff. It's not the other way. You've got to have both, and they've got to both be right for it to work. And you can't just go, oh, I'm going to focus all my attention on nurturing the staff. You know, while she stood behind the shop counter, let's get you a foot bath. Do you know what I mean? You know, and I just think like this.
Is this against some of the memes you see about Richard Branson about looking after staff first?
That's it. I like Richard Branson. Don't get me wrong, but it's nothing.
I thought you were going to call him Richard then, like you know him.
No, me and Dick, we go well back, mate. There's a soundbite for you.
What, you and Dick go right back?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But They call it the Branson's pickle. I mentioned the cheese. Anyway, but the thing is there's a massive. It's both. You sort of. It's tough to know, but if you have the right team doing the right things, it can make a massive difference as long as you're making sure you're doing what you should be doing. Like if you, let's say you get someone in just because you don't like doing the training, but people are coming for you, that's the wrong thing to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? So I send my drivers to Pete because I trust what he does. Oh, how was Pete today? To the guy, oh, it was Jane. She wasn't as good as the last time, actually. Oh, Pete's off in the Bahamas, isn't he? Yeah, with Richard. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And they don't know you're probably working twice as hard to keep it going and pay those staff who do better out of it than you do because they earn more money because they get the money. You're earning that money to pay your staff. No one sees that you're doing it as a way to make everything better. They see it more as you've got your feet up. That's why you've got staff. And you've got to be careful because it all paints a picture.
Totally. Do you know what? It's really interesting us speaking about this because on the podcast, you're probably, I'm trying to think, you're one of the earlier guests who have had a business and had it for a sustained period of time. And the way you talk about leadership and management is very different to the people who have like worked in businesses as staff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's quite interesting and having it from a raw point of view of, do you know what, this is my business and I need to put the right staff in front of the right customers. And when you get that balance wrong, which is obviously the experience you've had,
yeah,
it creates a massive challenge.
Nice people,
yeah,
it just doesn't work. Like, you know, when we worked on the bar, certain people, just nice people, they just don't fit what's going on, and you need the right people for the right job.
Yeah, and nothing, you know, as an 18-year-old, when we were working in the, you know, how often, when we used to work in that bar, you and I, and how busy that would get on a Friday or a Saturday night, and it was often like, there was a third bar staff member, and it'd often be like, do you know what, it's probably easier if it's just us two doing this.
Yeah.
Because it's like, get out of the way.
Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult because you've only got, when you're in business, you've only got one set of hands, haven't you? And you've got to try and balance that, haven't you?
Well, it's true, but I think the delegation thing's important because there's a lot you can delegate to the right people, loads of it, and it takes the edge off what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously you've got your podcast now, for example. If that's booming, then you could say, actually, I've had this person work for me for 2 years. They could take the helm of something whilst I can do this, and it's a necessary thing to have.
Yeah.
So you need to know how to do it. Otherwise, it will cost you an absolute fortune and it will break you. For me, I've had staff bills that have been so big, and I've got nothing to show for that. That's just pure error and putting people in the wrong place. You know.
Really, right? Okay. So just for the benefit of people listening and watching, when you've had the most members of staff, how many staff have you had on employment?
14.
14. Okay. It just puts it into context for people so they understand when you say that you've had massive staff bills, you've had 14 people and have felt like you've not had the productivity to benefit from it.
No, massively not. And no one will ever do it. When you've got business people listening who've running their own businesses, no one will ever understand that no matter who you hire, they will never do it like you do it.
No.
Ever. It doesn't matter if they've got a PhD, they've come from a job where they're earning £1 million in a corporate, they will not come and do my job better than me. They just can't. And you've operated your business in Cambridge, so you've got a fairly strong talent pool to operate from, of students and university students and what have you. So there's loads of people, and they're all really good at what they do and stuff. But there's just little things that I like. It's just instincts. Things you just know that you can't write down or teach.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise earlier on that couldn't be taught.
Yeah.
Not
nice. And how many staff have you got now, Ben?
6.
6. So you pulled it right back. And what does your turnover look like, or what does your business look like in comparison to size to what it was when you had 14?
Well, recently it's been more.
Right. So what you're saying is you've managed to cut 8 people and still achieve the same results. Obviously, better margin at the other end.
Pretty much, yeah. And just decide on what you don't need people for, what you can step up and do yourself, or what you don't need to do. So, like for example, I thought, well, maybe we could offer like this massive delivery service that never took off quite the same as I thought it would. And actually, it's easier than if I don't have a member of staff doing that. I do it myself and just cut the radius, and we've still got a steady flow of those people, and that's much more profitable. And also other things which I haven't mentioned in my lists actually, but other costs. I mean, cost cut. I mean, I think later on let's talk about the keep an eye on the bill, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll come to that. It's interesting though. I'm probing you, Ben, because do you know what? Like, it's not often that you get to speak to someone who's had those bloody noses, so that other people can learn vicariously. Like you've had the bloody noses, haven't you? Over the past 10 years, is it 10 years or more?
2014.
What, 2014 was when you started the farm shop?
Sorry, no, 14 years.
14 years, yeah. So 2006.
I've run the shop and then the pub and then the game business, the farm, the production and the shop on the farm all together. About 2006 I started.
Yeah, 14 years. 14 years, and a lot of learning's taken place in that time, hasn't it?
Bloody knows most weeks.
and that's just the punters when you're doing stand-up.
Yeah. It is, mate.
Right, nice one. Right, let's move on to number 3 then. So, doing what you want, not what someone else wants. Can you explain that one, mate?
I can. Everybody, with you, here we go. This one pisses me off.
Oh, soapbox moment.
Yeah. Whenever you go out for a drink or meet friends or meet family or meet other business people or meet anyone else that hears anything about what you do, they'll always have suggestions for you. And you can't be rude and say, I've thought of all those 10 years ago, but I'll listen to you, right? And whatever. And there's so many people, especially people who normally you trust as well, close to you, who are telling you to do stuff. And in your gut, you know it's not right. And quite often, like, you have friends go, oh, you should do this, or customers saying you should do this. And sometimes the biggest success I've got is from when I've just, with my wife, Vicky, we've just gone, well, what do we want to do? You know, screw what anyone else thinks. What's best for us, the family, the business? Do we want it to grow? Do we want it to shrink? Do we, maybe we don't want to sell that kind of food. Yeah, I know him down the road probably does really well from it, but that's not what we want to do. And you can be really pressured by lots of people, whether it's customers, friends, or whatever. And before you know it, I bet it happened with you with Flagship, tiny bits of it. You go, oh, I feel I should do that. I feel I should do that. Do I want? No, I don't want to do that, but I feel I should because they've said it and they've said it. Then you've done it, you've lost money, it hasn't worked. And then all you've done is go full circle. You might have had the experience, but that's just what people say who've had a punch in the face and go, oh, well, because we're all optimistic about it and try and take what we can from it. So, really a lot of people go, I wouldn't have done that if like I did all this game production on the farm. I learned a lot from it, which is all I've got from it. If I could have gone back and not done it at all, I would have gone back and not done it at all.
Yeah,
that's not the case with all of it. I mean, there's things like were really hard and tough that I don't regret because they've pushed things in a different way. When business gets hard, tough, or quiet, and you don't know what to do, sometimes that's the best thing you need, a kick in the backside, and you change direction, which we've done. I've also got that on some of my points later, Yeah. But do what you think is right for you, and in a non-cliche way, just screw what everyone else thinks.
Nice. And this is going to put you on the spot a minute. What's the shittest bit of advice you've had from someone when they've told you what you should do?
Oh my God. a psychic night at the pub.
Nice.
That's
Okay.
probably one of the worst. You should try
We
stand up.
should have a psychic night at our pub.
I just thought of that. Oh God, I try and block them out because they give you nightmares.
Did you do the psychic night at the pub?
No, I had it about me to. I smashed the crystal ball and chucked him out.
They didn't see that one coming.
No, they didn't. It was a snow globe. Actually, they got it wrong. But yeah, I can't really think of many. But like, you do feel it. Like, for example, like one of the biggest mistakes I think I made. There wasn't any one person telling me to do like, let's say, like the game business on the farm. But there's lots of people who thought it was a good idea, including myself at the time. And it's one of those things where you just go, oh, do you know what I mean? It just escalates, and before you know it, you're going, oh, I bought half of his kit, I might as well buy the rest, and you sort of lose control of it a little bit. That's what happened there. But advice-wise, I can't. I mean, when we used to work in the pub, just all the time, just had to mop the crap off the bar flowing from their mouth every minute. You know, like, oh boy, have you ever thought about working in a pub? You're in a pub, Jim. Oh, you know, like just the most obvious things.
It's good for as a youngster. It's good for building up the old BS detector, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that is true. I'm surprised we're still friends, really. But, but you know, the thing is, working in those pubs, and you'll agree, was useful. There's no regret there because you saw firsthand every person that you could be if you didn't get off your backside and get on with something for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, we live to do what we do. That they lived for 3 o'clock, or most of them 11 o'clock. When the doors opened in the pub, that was their life. Well, that's not what we wanted to do. You know, it was like they press reset every day, and you'd be like, "Oh, how you doing?" Whatever, and you'd be like, "Oh, yeah, you told me that yesterday, mate." Just say the same every day, and it becomes part of a routine. But it's a routine of demise, and it's costly. And if you're not earning, you're spending, aren't you? And it's sort of like a whole, and every person goes, "Oh, you know, when I was your age, I wish I did this." And I thought to myself, "Well, perhaps I should."
Yeah.
Throw the money at the bar at you. You know, we used to hate it, didn't we? We used to throw the money down.
Throw the money or wave it at you to make you serve them, and then they just get ignored for longer.
Yeah, they would.
Top tip that one for getting served at the bar.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Exactly. Or whistle, because you'll never get served.
Nice. So number 4 then, mate. Thrive under pressure and preparation for working very hard. You have to prepare to change all the time, almost daily. And according to what's happening, this could be huge changes, complete U-turns. Tell me about that, mate.
Massively. So I'm going to get that in front of me because there's a few points in there, isn't there?
There's quite a few points in there. I was going to say, I should almost say that you've like stolen not just 7, but that one alone's worth about 3, I think.
Yeah, I know. I was under pressure. I wasn't dealing with it very well.
Well, you weren't thriving under pressure.
No. I think that, like, for example, me, I'm very good when it's mental. Very, very, like, if it's like what's just happened with COVID, for example, has been insane, but I sort of love it. And I think if you want your business to be successful, you've got to love it when it's insane, because that's the only way you're going to build it. Like the nice times when your feet up are only nice because you've had mental times. Like you can't really a business won't be sustainable if whilst you stick around all day. It will never make it work. So not that I don't sit around all day sometimes because I want to, but it's because you've been nuts other days. But also, like when COVID happened, we had to be very, very prepared, and have done this a few times in the past, to just U-turn. So, like, for example, a couple of years back, we were noticing different things happening in our business, and it wasn't sort of going the way we wanted. So we turned on a sixpence almost in a few weeks. and we decided to go with something we wanted to do for a while, which is like zero waste shopping, decanting foods and reusable cleaners and things like this, and sort of go. We've always had a sustainable edge to the business, something we've always strived for, but we thought what we were doing was maybe a mixed message, so we just turned it like that really quickly. And there's a massive amount of pressure there, but again, you thrive on it, the new, the fresh, the vibes that come from it. And I think that you have to be prepared that sometimes what you have always done, doesn't matter. And no one owes you a living, you know? No one owes you what you do. If someone doesn't want to buy what you sell anymore, it's your problem. Sorry. And it's really brutal. So we were getting to a stage where lots more vegan people are coming out of the woodwork, or not even vegan, just less consumption of meat. And back in 2006, we were huge about the meat, and it's evolved gently to being less and less of that side of things. So in maybe the last few years, we started developing ways of selling other products that are more vegan friendly or more ethical or more sustainable or even more local or organic or whatever. And we're getting to the stage where it was a toss up really. So we scaled down the things that we thought our customers probably weren't as keen on. But we never got rid of it. Never sort of were like impulsive in that sense. Whereas there were times where it would have been easier to have done that, but it wasn't necessarily the right thing, because during with the COVID thing, for example, everyone sort of went back to sort of more old school ways of shopping. So, and we were known for that. So if we had got rid of ranges, we probably would have suffered actually.
I think it's fascinating. One of the things I just want to pull in there when you say about thriving under pressure is something that resonates with me that you told me a little while ago, which was we were talking about when I used to work in the workshop and stuff, and I'd be selling productive time. So that was something that I sold in my workshop, time. And once it's run out, it's run out. And then you were telling me, obviously, that you buy food and sell food, which has got a shelf life, and you've only got a window of opportunity to sell that, or it's gone. You've lost it. And the pressure, just explain the pressure that is, you know, especially when you're competing with the likes of the stack it high, sell it cheap mentality of Tesco's, for example.
Well, first off, the first thing you can't do is invest too much money in the stock. So unless you've got a lot of money, and if you're really got a lot of money and you're not too bothered about waste, I mean, naturally waste annoys me regardless of the cost.
Yeah.
You know, the social impact, the sustainability issues, the fact that it's just a disgusting waste. I hate waste. But if I didn't care about that, I had loads of money, it's easier because you can just make sure you've always got enough on sale, so you're getting every single sale. Whereas we're having to be a bit more cautious because we're smaller. So when you do your orders for fresh produce, fresh vegetables have got, if you're lucky, a few days, but you've got to have enough in stock for it to always be good quality and fresh and to always sell.
Yeah.
So you can't, like, for example, it's very easy during the COVID because most people were stocking up on tins or toilet. We all know about the toilet paper thing, or cleaners.
Do you sell toilet paper? Do you
yeah, we sell toilet. Yeah.
Have you started selling hand cleaner too?
Yeah. We've always sold it. We've always sold it. We've always sold it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. As part of the range, because we're just like a good quality little corner shop, really.
Yeah.
But that was easy because you can just throw money at that, make sure you've got enough of that, because it's never really going to spoil. I mean, you can go, well, we normally order 3 cases of toilet roll. We'll order 20 and make sure we've got enough for our customers and stuff. Whereas you can't do that with meat, eggs. Eggs are a bit easier. They've got 3 to 4 weeks, but milk, you know, your milk, your vegetables, your fruits,
bread,
your meats, at best, you've got a week to get it out the door. Because not only health and safety reasons, especially with meat. I mean, vegetables don't have use-by dates. It's determined by the quality and the freshness. But you can buy a case of something and it starts to spoil the next day. It can be all right in a week. So when it's busy, it's easier. There's a constant pressure, but there's not only the pressure to sell it, there's the pressure to not buy too much of it. And that creates a constant pressure in our whole system, because we have to have stock lists every day to manage it, and everyone has to be on on the ball, sorry, to manage all the food. So there's an incredible amount of labour that goes purely into just having the stocks for the shop alone. It just can't be automated. It's a judgment thing. So my main contribution to what I do daily is I do all the ordering, and I'm always thinking about it. And you've always got to be so hot on it, and it's where you'll lose a lot if you're not careful. You can't just go in and go, oh, you know, like, I've watched The Apprentice, stack it high. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't work because
no, and then run around the streets trying to sell it before it goes off at the end of the day.
That's right, and you know,
that's what they do, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, exactly. Got to keep some form of decorum, and I can feel the stress of having to make those decisions.
You get used to it. If there's anyone listening in who's doing this sort of thing, you get used to it because you start to find what sells, what doesn't sell, what keeps, what doesn't keep. But also we're finding that now we're more established. Sometimes I drew the conclusion I just stopped selling herbs and no one really batted an eyelid. Whereas it was more me worried to not have everything. So being comfortable with selling out. Sometimes just be happy with what you've got and not think, oh, I could have made an extra quid there if I'd had a coriander. Do you know what I mean? Get over it.
Yeah. I got you, mate. Got you. Nice, mate. Right, I'm going to probe you on number 5 then. So don't take things personally. Let things go.
Yeah. People are fickle. Get over it, basically. We all are. If you're in business and you get annoyed that someone hasn't used your business, just think about how many times you haven't used someone else's. Get over it. You can tie yourself in knots all day long, especially in a food business. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's say you might sell something I'm never going to buy. So that's fine. You can get over that. If you're selling very, very niche things, well, Ben hasn't used my business, but well, maybe Ben doesn't need that service. That's fine. Everybody eats. So when everybody eats, you can take it very personally when nobody uses your business that you know, family or friends or whatever. People live further away, you sort of understand. But I used to get a bit more annoyed when I was like, oh, I know that bloke who I'm friends with. I know he lives in Cambridge. He's never been in. Or that. And you used to tie yourself up in knots about it. Now I just don't care anymore, and it's a lot. It's a lot nicer. It's freeing, you know.
Liberating.
It just you can watch people flocking into Tesco's and get annoyed about it, but sometimes you've got to take yourself out of the situation and go, no one. This isn't me having a go at anybody, by the way. No one cares. Only you care about your business, and get over it. And it took me a long time to learn that.
Yeah, it's so true.
Like if you're going, I kill myself over this. I kill myself over this. And that bloke, he used to always use me for those courses. Now he doesn't. He doesn't care. He probably found it closer or cheaper. He doesn't care. And like, sometimes you've got to go, if he wanted it cheaper, it's not worth it for me. I'd rather not have him. Good. Don't want that kind of customer. You just sort of like, if you sort of got to think to yourself, well, actually, there are some sorts of people who go, oh, I could have bought that in. I remember years ago, here's a story for you. I was doing my Christmas trees out the front of the shop, and around Christmas time, funny enough, and I'm not insane. And that'd be weird. What are you doing, Ben? It's June. I just got my Christmas tree. No. And this is my favourite. My friends, they talk to me. This is Bruce Spruce. No, sorry. Sorry. I just made that up. And a bloke come along. This is quite a few years ago, but this is a transitional thing, and it doesn't happen overnight. But he come along and he looked at the trees, and I've always had the philosophy with trees. We sell a certain amount every year. We're very lucky. But because of this, know we've got what we're going to sell within 10, 20 trees, right? I have a very regular group of customers for trees. In turn, they're more expensive because I buy good quality trees, because the last thing I want is someone moaning at me that we've ruined their Christmas because the tree was rubbish. I'd rather sell a tree for more money, better quality tree, and know everyone's happy and I've not got any comeback. if there's someone comes to me and says my tree dropped its needles, I'm actually very tempted to say I don't believe you. Do you know what I mean? The quality's there, right?
Yep.
So they're all more expensive, and I don't care. That's fine. They all sell. A bloke come past. You get this all the time. Some people don't understand that, and they look at the price of the trees and stuff. And I'm like, whatever sort of thing. One bloke, I could go and get this. I could go and get a tree like this from B&Q for 20 quid cheaper. I said, and I think I turned around to him and I said, 1, no, you won't. 2, go to B&Q because I don't care. And he didn't know what to say, because at the end of the day, you've just got to do what's right for you and not care about it, And that actually happened, but not in June.
Not in June. It happened in November or December.
Probably November.
It was definitely hard. When I started Flagship, I assumed that everyone would want to buy my stuff. I assumed that my family and friends would care what I was doing. I assumed that everyone would like and share stuff on social media, and they'd help me grow the business, and they would refer me to all of their friends. And at first it does hurt a little bit when people don't buy your stuff, and they're not really interested and can give two what's it. And it's the age-old thing, this perception of because they look on social media and they'll see that you've done stuff, whatever that might be, you've done stuff, and things are going really well, aren't they? But they don't really understand that social media doesn't necessarily put food in your kids' bellies.
No, but social media, they forget social media is a tool for you, and you can't put on social media, look how much money I've lost today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No matter what you're doing,
friends and alienate people.
Yeah. Thanks for liking my comment. I'm unfriending you now.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It's your billboard, it's your sandwich board, it's your way of showing people. I mean, I've had times where the shop, it's been so quiet. I don't know what I was going to do, but isn't it great? Sunny day.
Yeah,
Facebook, it's just the way it is,
Yeah. Motivation Monday.
Hashtag.
For the benefit of those who are listening, Ben is doing 2-fingered swear signs at the camera.
To the hashtag.
To the hashtag. Nice, mate.
All right. But yeah, that's it. Just don't take things personally, because do you know what? They don't mean it. They went, I was going to share that for Flagship, but then I, didn't.
Yeah, that's the best one. That is the best one. I always get people comment to me and they'll go, I saw that you did that the other day. And I was like, all right, so why didn't you like it then? Why didn't you comment on it?
Yeah, and because we're all just flicking.
Yeah, we're all just too busy. And that is it. You've just got to end up having a thick skin, ain't you?
That's all it is. And the second I realised I'm doing that, I felt better.
Yeah.
The second I realised I was scrolling on from someone I met once at a market or something, and I mean well. I did think one day I might share it. You just forget. And people, for example, when I moved shops, I've had 3 different shops, 3 different locations. We've lost customers, and we've only moved a minute down the road each time, because you're not on people's convenient routes, or they don't see you because they don't go down that road, they go down a different road. Nothing against you, just out of the loop. That's all it is.
Yeah. No, perfect. Nice. Okay, so 6th thing then, before we go on to 7, because you've managed to wangle 7, and I suppose I thought I'd let you. Yeah. Thumbs up. Thumbs up, friend. Wangled.
Friend.
So, your 6th thing, your half dozen thing, is about control of your money and your bills.
Yes, so I learned this one. This is a learning curve more than something I've always done. So where I used to be, it'll be all right. That'll be all right. One day you wake up and you go, oh right, all the money's gone. Right, that's worrying. And then it takes 2 years to get it back. Do you know what I mean? And so what I started doing is I started doing my own bookkeeping. I started doing all that sort of thing, all the invoicing, and I just sort of went through everything with a fine tooth. If you said you got a lot of listeners or people who've been on the show who have come from more corporate things, so that's where they're probably better at this anyway. So they probably had a job.
No, so I disagree, mate. I disagree.
Really?
A lot of the people who've come out of corporate, yeah. So I'll be honest, I've been there. You know, I come out. So to the listeners who don't know the backgrounds between Ben and I, Ben went off after working in a pub at the age of 18 through to like early 20s. And then you went off and started running 14 years ago this shop, and you went self-employed. That was probably your last job, wasn't it? And then since then, I went and had I had a career initially in a small to medium-sized business or a medium-sized enterprise that ended up selling for several £1 million, and then went on to work for a blue-chip company. So before then, working for myself. So our history since then has been very different. But yeah, certainly the corporate people, financially, you'll often, you know, they understand like what a P&L looks like, but actually the nuts and bolts of understanding cash flow when it's your money, I think think it's a challenge. Yeah,
that's it. Because I mean, a lot of people might not know what a P&L even really goes for, but if it's money coming out of your pocket, you have to know. And like I mean, years ago, I might have thought profit and loss was actually your account, but obviously it's not. It doesn't account for capitals and things like this, and investments and such, and things that you've got, or your buildings and all that sort of thing. It's only sort of a broadsheet for if you're dealing with your bank or whatever. So there's so much learning that came with it. And I remember just thinking, like, I'd set up an account with, I don't know, card machine provider, or get finance on a vehicle, or I don't know, fuel cards, tiny things just everywhere. Or I need that bit of equipment, so I'll just finance it. You know, little and often money coming out and stuff. And when I sort of realised one day, it was getting to a stage where I'd just done this so much, because it's all part of this thing I was saying about the staff earlier. So I was just trying to grow the business as much as I could to get to a stage where I could deal with it and such. But actually, I think one of the biggest things I learned that's not on this list is you can't force growth. And you can't force, even no matter how much kit you buy, staff you get, you can't force that. It has to happen the other way around.
Yeah.
So what I did was I scaled everything back down to like completely just sort of filtered everything out that was completely unnecessary. Like really, really like, and I even changed all my vehicles. I was saying this earlier. I went to electric vehicles because I managed to do it in such a way that it would save me a lot of money on fuel and things like that as well. I just sort of looked at everything and scrutinised everything, and I was prepared to spend a lot of time doing that. And actually, everyone says it. You could spend a day a week in the office and make more money by saving it than you can by going out and earning it. And sometimes that's true, especially if you've had a big startup time. So I've had a lot of time where I did all that, certain new startups a few years back, and you know, the website and the game business and the shop on the farm and things, and they all sort of pulled together. I mean, I'm still now, as we sit here, still paying for the card machine for that business that's not been open for 2 years, because I took out a 4-year card machine thing, and just little things like that. But I don't know if it's relevant to anybody, but if you ever get to that sort of stage when you're starting up, or you've built up a good reputation with your suppliers and it's a few years down the line, quite often you can find yourself at a stage where you still haven't really got any money. You don't know what you're going to do. Yeah. You'd be amazed how picking the phone up and talking to your suppliers is fine. Like, there's been times where I've gone, I don't know how I'm going to pay them today. But then you've rung them up, explained the situation, been honest, straight with them, and then they're part of your journey with you, you know? Yeah. And they'll always remember, as long as you're loyal to them. I mean, that's the thing. So keeping that, and then that way you're keeping the control. Like, if you're deciding to pick the phone up to those people, you're keeping the control. They're not ringing you, asking you where it is. You're ringing them before they ring you to tell them where it's going to be and how it's going to be, and working with them. If you keep it, if everything's sort of in your control, it makes a massive difference. And like when I had a bookkeeper, there was little things I didn't realise. just different things of the bank reconciliation, and some invoices have been missed because I'll be looking through something going, well, where's that invoice? But obviously they haven't got that. They're not looking for that big invoice to claim that VAT back, and you'll lose yourself a few £100. Whereas I'm going, we've got a nice big VAT claim this month, and so it's on my mind to make sure those bills are going in. It's not on theirs. It's not on their mind. They're trying to go, how can I categorise this from A to Z correctly and get home?
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
how quickly can I get this done? Yeah.
And
it's looking at things. It's looking at things a different way. I can relate to this massively. So, two clear points I wanted to highlight that you made there. One's about force and growth. So, Flagship's 2 years old now, and I went full time in it from March last year, and I started with some cash. I had some cash, and I got some good business, and I invested money to try and grow. I ended up spending in last year. I spent 20 grand on marketing, 20 grand on trying to grow.
Bloody hell.
Right, okay, and that's someone who's been in business 14 years, right? And I'm a service business. It's not like
paid marketing, though. But
sorry,
what I do is different to what you do. I have to hope, I can spend as much as I want, but if they don't live in the area or stumble across it online, they're not really going to use it.
Exactly. So you've got
bigger reach.
Yeah, you've got to know who your target audience is, and I wasted of that 20 grand. Some of it will have been worthwhile, and some of it will have been literally I may as well have lit it up and sat outside and smoked it. Absolute total waste of time, and that's. It's interesting for me because that was my bloody nose last year.